Hello class, welcome to our lesson for today, dealing again with section 3.2, applications of radian measure. Today should just be a lot of review style questions, just dealing with finding exact values and then finding answers around the circle one time. So for the first group of problems that we're going to be dealing with, remember it's always about finding the reference angle. So for the first one, sine of 7 pi over 6 is 30 degrees. So you could just find the ratio right now. Use your 30, 60, 90 triangle. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, and that would be 1 over 2. And then it's negative because in quadrant 3, sine is negative. Cosine of pi over 2, that's one of those quadrantial spots. Either use the circle idea or the graph of cosine. Cosine of 90 degrees is 0 because 0 over 1, or the x value over the r value, is 0. Secant of 4 pi over 3, what you want to find is cosine of that. So the reference angle is 60. Cosine of 60 would be adjacent, which is 1 over 2. I flip it, so it should be 2 over 1. The answer is actually in quadrant 3 because 240 is 60 times 4, which is the 4 pi over 3s. And that answer would be negative because cosine's negative there. Cosecant of 3 pi. Pi, remember, is the same as 180 degrees, so 3 times that is 540, which is actually the same spot to the left as what it was originally. Sine would be 0 in that point because the y value is 0, or the sine graph is 0 at 180. But remember, when you flip that, that's actually undefined. So remember, when you flip secant, cosecant, or cotangent, and it was 0 in the original sine, cosine, tangent, then it should be undefined when you flip it. Cosine of 5 pi over 4, remember pi over 4 is a 45-degree angle. 5 times that would be 225, so my answer is in quadrant 3. The nice thing about 45-degree angles is that sine and cosine are similar, and so are tangent and cotangent. So it's 1, and you flip it, it's still 1. Positive because you're in quadrant 3. Cosine of negative pi over 3 is the same as 60. You go downwards, remember negatives go downwards, and you end up in quadrant 4. Cosine of 60, the adjacent would be 1, and the hypotenuse would be 2. And then it's 1/2, not negative 1/2, because in quadrant 4, cosine is actually positive, according to the all students take calculus approach, and also x is positive in quadrant 4. The rest of what we're going to look at is finding all the values from 0 to 360. I'm not going to spend too much time on each question, just making sure the main idea. Anytime you're finding x or the angle, you got to do the inverse trig function of sine, cosine, or tangent. Most of the time that's one of the answers, and then that's also the reference in quadrant 1. And then quadrant 4 is the other spot where cosine is positive, so you do 360 minus the reference angle and find the second answer of 294.83. Next one's tangent of x equals 1.5. Same idea, do the inverse function of tangent. You should get 46.4. That's also theta prime, or the reference angle. The other spot where tangent is positive is quadrant 3. And 180 plus the reference angle would be 226. So there's two answers, one in quadrant 1 and one in quadrant 3. Next one is secant, and a lot of you are struggling with this on homework checks and just looking at it kind of from your homework pieces themselves. Remember, if you're given secant, cosecant, or cotangent, you have to flip it. So if secant is 1.44, cosine is its reciprocal, and then do the inverse of it. What you don't want to do is the inverse, then do 1 divided by it. It won't make a lot of sense. Actually, you'll probably get no solution for a lot of that. So make sure you do the ratio, flip, and then do the cosine inverse. That's one of the answers. The second answer is in quadrant 4 because cosine's positive still in 1 and 4. And then the second answer would be taking 360 minus the 46.02, and you get the number around 314. Side note, make sure if a question asks degrees, minutes, seconds, you know how to deal with that on your calculator. You want to make sure that you're able to find those answers. The next one has a negative ratio, which automatically means for sine that it's going to be in quadrants 3 and 4. What you'll notice here is when you do the sine inverse, you actually get a negative angle. What that's saying is the angle answer is negative 8 degrees, but you could always add 360 to find what it should have been from 0 to 360, because this answer is not in the interval that you care to know from. But the reference angle is 8.36. So if you get a negative angle that's less than 90, the reference angle is just the positive of that. And then you can still draw out your two angles in quadrants 3 and 4 and then figure out what they are by taking 180 plus the 8.36 or 63 and 360 minus for the quadrants 3 and 4 answers. That's all the pieces for today. Make sure that when you're looking at these scenarios with your calculator, you know how to plug stuff in. and then you have to find the second answer yourself. Your calculator won't find it for you, so you want to make sure that you're able to find that second answer when it comes to your homework and for your assessments. Have a good day, everybody.